Here we go. So thank you everybody for coming to our monthly meetup. This month we're going to go over a particular offering that is in the eastern part of North Carolina. It is a drug rehab facility, and it's a really unique opportunity, and I think a really fantastic opportunity for people to get involved and hopefully have their money start working for them. So CB is a big part of this. She's the managing member, and I'm going to let her kind of take it away here.
Thank you, Bobby, for giving me the opportunity to share over here. So I thought maybe I share a little bit about my background. According to my children, I am the most boring person in the whole world because mom always talk about real estate, and real estate. I've been doing it since 1997. I love real estate, and I always don't understand why not everybody love it as much as I do. But I also grew up in a family who do a lot of real estate buying and selling, so it's very natural to me. So I started out in 1997 buying the first property that has a cash flow. It covered my mortgage, so I have the first cash flow property, and afterwards I'm hooked with it. I just get a few more and a few more and a few more. That would be wonderful. So I moved to United States in year 2000, and ever since I learned about the real estate advantages in United States, I got so excited, and I helped so many people, even just as a friend, to purchase their first home. And then I learned about the 1031 exchange. I learned about how you can defer and etc. So it's just been a very exciting journey for me. So now I own hotels, mobile home park, apartment buildings, and what else do I have? And then, but I have to say, among all those that I own, this one we are looking at it together tonight is my favorite ever. First of all, the cash flow is good. And second, there is a very meaningful mission behind it. We are changing people's lives. So I'm going to jump in right into the slide and share with you guys about this particular project. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so let me see. Slideshow. The property we're talking about today is in North Carolina, in Clinton. It has 120 beds. So we have 60 beds over here and another 60 on the side. So this is a future look. So we're doing a conversion. So I think giving you guys a visual would be helpful. So I'm going to start with a video over here. This is the Clinton facility. The building in front of us is 60 beds. So that is the one we can do the short-term program. So this is about 8 acres. So these are the apartment buildings all around them. And over here, the second row and the third row. So they're pretty much very similar. And so see this row and over there. So altogether, there are 42 units for the apartment building. And some of the construction we need to do is to put a fence all around the building. We're going to add swimming pool, a gym, and also a gazebo, so where people can hang out and discuss. So there will be a recreation center. We want to match up to other luxury rehab center. And then right over there, part of the time it will be open only to the people who's in the community. And in the morning, it will be open to the methadone patients on the other side that can enter, but it will be not joined together. It will be separate with fence. Just open one side or another, depends on the time of the day. And we're going to put in more parking space around those trees. So part of the construction cost or the rehab cost is to remove those trees so that we can put more space for the parking. So this is Clinton. All right, we're back to Clinton right now. In fact, everything looks better than the photos already. This is in the, let me show you the current photo. Oh, before I start anything, my attorney said I always have to put on a disclaimer. This is an introduction, but it's not actual. You need to check the private offering memorandum to make an offer. So this is just for educational. You learn a little bit there, but in the PPM, you learn more about the details and know that there is always risk making investment. So you have to do your own due diligence to make sure you're comfortable. So this is the disclaimer. All right. So this is changing path. This is our future look. We're going to make a fancier entrance compared to how it used to look like. And this is our brand new roof. So the building is about 45,000 square feet and it's on 8.23 acres, built in 1973. We have 34 apartment building, has 60 beds there, and another 33 units with 60 beds. So totally, we have 120 beds. In fact, Susie said we can have up to 135 beds, but we're only putting 120 beds, as her floor plan. So this is how it looks like. We are on a dead-end street. So as you drive in on Martha Lane, you make a left turn. Here's the main building, like a T shape. And on this side is the apartment building. And then right here, we have 3 more acres is vacant. Just in case we ever want to expand, this is a possibility. And I also double check the zoning and the license. This is a perfect match. So we're not going to have any issues about doing a drug rehab at this particular location. Our purchase price is 4.275. Tenants improvement is about $2 million. Actually, we're going to give them up to $2 million to improve the property. Anything go over that, it will be the tenant responsibility. So the renovation plan, the most critical one that we're doing is the sprinkler, fire door, and the fence. But they also plan to put in pool, gazebo, tennis court, basketball court, and fireplace, gym, and a nice reception area. This is a future entrance design. This is what happened about 2-3 weeks ago when I was there. This is some of the property, how it looks like today, right now. As you can see, apartment building is pretty much all done. Have new floor, new plumbing, new door, new roof, practically everything new posts. So it's like brand new. Why are we doing drug treatment facility? Because there's a high demand in it. Unlike any other asset I have ever seen in my life. Like even when you open assisted living, you have to do a lot of advertisement. When you're doing drug rehab, first, there's a high demand. Second, once you go on those government lists, they will automatically call you and want to come in here for the service. And insurance and grant pay for majority for this treatment. And we have excellent operators here, Dr. Jonathan Glover and Susie Tick, who is with us today. And later on, they're going to talk about what set them apart than other facility. Why are they having more success rate? And right now, they already have 88 people on the waiting list. We're not even open yet because the seller will not allow us to move in until close of escrow. So sadly, in North Carolina, 4,000 people overdose per year over there. So if you think about it, there's more than 10 people die from overdose in North Carolina. In Clinton alone, 1 to 2 people die over there. So this is some of the statistic. 2000 to 2020, 28,000 people died in North Carolina. 26% increase from 20 to 2021. So all this, if you look at the source, some of them is from the news, some of them is from government site. So you're welcome to check on some of this number as well. We are at the perfect location for for the purpose of this building. Martha Link is right here, Clinton. There are 4 airports close by: Raleigh, Jacksonville, Wilmington, Fayetteville. And also we are close to 3 military base: Fort Bragg, Seymour Johnson, and the other one, I don't know how to pronounce.
It's Camp Lejeune. Camp Lejeune. Yeah. And that, it's a shame that, being in the middle of different military bases is something that is a positive for a drug rehab facility. But, facts of the matter are that in the military, there are a lot of problems with drug abuse. So, it is something that, from our perspective, it is, a bit of a benefit from that perspective. So, and I come from a military family myself, and there's a lot going on there. It's not great to see that there's this problem, but at the least we can provide some kind of value here and help people out that need it.
Yes, and also close to the military base. Bobby already said, we are providing service to them. Also, we're close to airport because the patients can come from all across the United States. A lot of time when people have challenge on overdose or drug addictions, they want to be away from where they are usually used to. In that way, they cannot just go down the street to people they know and buy drugs. So our location is actually perfect and ideal for that reason. And I personally have been calling a lot of drug rehab center the last few months, over 20 or 30 of them across the United States, mostly around this area. And sometimes when I call them, they said they actually recommend me to send, myself or pretend to be an addict looking for a facility, or people I know, to another town, because they said you want to be away from where you live, because then you are away from the source.
Yeah. So I mean, this facility being kind of in the middle of nowhere, it seems on the face of it that, oh my gosh, why would you want to be just in the middle of nowhere? But it actually has a great amount of value for this type of a facility. So that's just something to keep in mind here.
Mm-hmm. So actually, before I jump in here, okay, maybe I will start from here. So the tenant already signed a 30 years lease with us. The rental income is $600,000 a year. Each year is going up about 4.5%. And because we're giving out $2 million to do the upfit, when they stabilize, in return, they share 3% of their gross annual income with us. So that can be up to $2 million a year rental income for us owning the building. And the demand source for our tenants is therapeutic care, Methadone Clinic, luxury inpatient treatment facility. And also, she already has 6 licenses. Any one of the license can actually pay for the rent. And therapeutic care is about $3,000 per month per bed. So that's about $2 million a year. Methadone Clinic projection is about July she can open. That's about $2.4 million a year. The luxury inpatient treatment center, we anticipate early January, they can start operating in business. That would generate over $30 million a year. So this is the projection, 35 million. And then we get 3% growth from here on top of our rental income. This is the closest facility to Clinton that doing the drug rehab. So when I was there, I went to visit it. They have similar, they actually more simple over there. It's not as luxury. 4 people share 1 room and 1 bathroom. As in Clinton, 2 people share 1 room. So, and we also have some private room. So for prices charged about the same, I think Clinton is a much better deal. And also they have the short-term and long-term combined together. And Susie will talk about that service a little bit later. For our investors over here, this is a projected returns and business plan. your preferred return will be 7% annual. So that is your preferred return. LPGP is 50-50, projected cash on cash 10%, IRR is about 50%, and then equity multiplier about 4x. Holding period. Over here, we say 10 years, but we're thinking about it might be longer. But when we were doing the underwriting, the software only allowed us to about 10 years. And also 10 years, because we are in opportunity zone, we get capital gain free from there. Like after 5 years, it's 50%, and then 60%, 70, 80, 90. When we hit 10 years, we actually can sell this property and have no capital gain. So total rate is about 4.2, and we plan to refinance within 2 years, which means your money is only at risk with us for less than 2 years. You get all your principal back, plus your interest and residual income afterwards until if we ever sell. So here's the purchase price, first mortgage, operating reserve, and capital needed. This is the purchase price, rehab cost, and the loan, and minimum investment is $50,000. This is our projected 10 years profit and loss. I will send you guys a link so you can look at that in details. This is a quick summary. Let's say you put in $100,000 investment. We plan to refinance in year 2, and this is your yearly return.
And you can see that's around a 10% cash on cash return over the lifetime of the deal. So that's pretty substantial. And the IRR is around 50% because we're doing that refinance in year 2. This is the facility. Now we have a black roof. So this is taken a few months ago. This is Dr. Jonathan Glover, 32 years experience. And he had done 5 different startups before. And he also is a professor, which is important to us because we all know after COVID, it's a lot harder to hire employees. But because of working as a professor, he has actually some of the student pool, and some of them actually already applied to work for the facility. And Susie has done another startup, multiple startup actually. One of them is a 14-bed, and it went up to over 100 beds. And I talked to the owner of that facility a while ago. Kathy worked with Susie for, I think, 2 or 3 years. Susie can tell more about that later. And that became a very successful facility. And also Susie has successfully managed over 700 employees before. And we got her resume, both of the doctor's resume and references letter in the Dropbox. So here's a little bit more detail about what they've done before. Investment summary, which we talked about that earlier. This is another summary. Cash on cash 10%, IRR 50, 4.08, and you get all your capital return in about year 2. And we start our first payment around the first, I think we can start doing the payment early next January. So this is the another quick summary. We already have a 30 years lease signed, $600,000 gross rent a year because it's triple net, gross also equal to net. 4.5% annual increase and 3% revenue share. And we're going to use a software called InSync, which most of the hospital in North Carolina are using it. And it's also tied to the government as well, because drug rehab is very highly regulated by the government. At any given time, they want to know how many beds you have available so they can send you patients. So right now, they have a huge shortage in North Carolina. So as soon as we start becoming full this facility, basically it will never be empty again, because every time somebody moves out, there's already a waiting list for someone to move in. So if you like what we hear, there is a subscription agreement you can review and sign. We're waiting for the wire fund. So we are doing the last count this few days. Very excited because we're closing on 31st.
This is the management team members. Everyone has long history in real estate. Everybody, I think, over 20 years. And then Nick Moore is our attorney for the SEC. These are some of the property that I own. And in fact, before, this is one of the projects I'm working on right now in Silicon Valley, 220 beds, brand new assisted living facility. Here's the photo of Tara, Ethan, and Nick. Tara is in Europe traveling, and Ethan is one of our managing member, and he actually managed asset, like quite a big portfolio, and also working with the Wall Street. These are my numbers. Feel free to give us a call. So let's see. That's all about my presentation, but I just want to show you quickly, when you click the portal, this is how it looks like. I have a short 15 minutes video, have an interview with Dr. Jonathan and Susie over here, and a little bit more explanation about the industry. And then if you scroll down to the bottom, you have 3 documents here. One is the PPM, the details of the offering. Another one, this one here is the conversion project. Which is actually today, the slide deck, you can look at it from there. And then this one here is a welcoming letter. So in the welcoming letter is a Dropbox, lots and lots and lots of information. It also have a photo link, so you can see the progressions of all the renovation that's been done, January, February, March, April, and May. So that concludes the presentation. We're going to invite Susie. Susie, are you here?
I'm here.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes. Susie, would you like to share a few things about your progress and some of the highlights that you're doing? Let people know who you are.
Sure. Okay, so I'm Susie Teague, and I have been an administrator for over 8 years now. I've been an owner-operator for over 4 years. I got involved in the drug industry after my sister passed away from a heroin overdose in 2006. She was a pediatrician for Cleveland Clinic. So that's what started my mission, and I absolutely enjoy seeing people progress and get their lives back together. So it's a well-rewarded business. So like CB was telling you, I have a bachelor's of science in psychiatry and also in business administration. And my coworker, which is our director, Jonathan Glover, he has 35 years in working in the drug rehabilitation industry. He was a facility director for 26 of those, and he also is a professor at the college, and he does teach the certificate for drug and alcohol, also the license, peer support, and counseling for mental health. So that's, and then we have Dr. Wadley. So Dr. Wadley has been working in the pain management field. He has 18 years of working with drug addiction. So with all of us together, we have 70 years of experience. I'm going to give you a little rundown on our program. So let me explain to you how the program works. So the main building, they will come into our facility for 28 days. After they graduate from the facility, if they are not established a place to live or a place to go back to or feel that they need extended care, they will then be able to go to our apartments. They can stay up in our apartments for up to a year. While they are in our apartments, they must attend outpatient. So the apartment billing is billed in many different ways. Not only are you billing for the rent, but you're also billing for all the outpatient services that they receive. So we have all of our different licenses. One is PHP, which is partial hospitalization. You have IOP, which is intense outpatient. You have OP, which is outpatient. You have the Methadone Clinic. You have detoxification and therapeutic community, which is the apartments, and then the inpatient dual diagnosis, which is the main center. So as CB was saying, each individual license is capable of paying the lease and operating expenses on its own. It does not leave any profit, but they are capable of paying them with each individual license. I expect to have 4 of the license up and operating within 45 days. The certificate of need was filed on, it's been almost 2 weeks ago now, and we should get some information back on that by the end of the month. But it will not be in hand till December. Then after we receive this certificate of need, we will then apply for our licensure for the inpatient. That takes about 30 to 35 days. So we're looking at January before the inpatient starts. But in the meantime, once the sprinkler system is in place and all the repairs are done on the main building and the fence is in place, I will be able to open my doors to detox. Detoxification does not require a certificate of need. Also, I would like to explain a little bit about how we bill. So we opened up a nonprofit organization. The nonprofit organization is able to apply for any loans or grants under the state of North Carolina or federal. In a conference that I was just in, we learned that North Carolina will be awarded $750 million towards grants for opioid addiction, which is a wonderful thing.
Susie, can you repeat?
750 million.
Wow.
$750 million it will be awarded to North Carolina for the use for drug treatment centers, outpatient centers to use for scholarship or grants for them to attend your program. So the nonprofit will be able to apply for all the grants. And then what happens is anybody that calls the facility or would like to come into the facility that can't afford to come in, their application is given to the nonprofit organization. They'll review the application, and if they feel that they are a good candidate, then they will award them a scholarship to come through our facility. So we would actually receive a check on their behalf from the nonprofit organization. We also have funding through TRICARE, federal funding, state funding. We have private insurance and we have private pay. So we have many ways that will be participating in the payment of their treatment. Our collection rate on that is around 80 to 90%. We have a very wonderful collection rate between all of us. So that's a great thing. Also, along with the collection rate, we do have some other programs that are going to be in place. We have TASK, which also pays or helps pay for drug treatment, and outpatient will also pay for their apartment stay, and they will be able to qualify for food stamps while they are in our apartments to help them get on their feet. While they are there, in order to graduate from the apartments, they must get back all of their credentials. So it'd be driver's license, social security cards, birth certificates, whatever it takes for them to be able to go get a job successfully. So once they get gainful employment, they will be set up with a bank account that they will not be able to touch till they leave our facility. We will help them, like I said, get their driver's license. If they've never had one, they'll go take a test, get their license back. We'll make sure that all their court cases have been settled. So there's a lot that goes on in that year. But being a dual diagnosed, we'll be able to work on the mental health part of it along with the addiction.
That's great, Susie. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Sure.
And, I think one of the things for investors to consider with this is that this is a triple net lease type of deal. So that it is different in the sense that, like we're not exactly investing in the build out of all of these things. Now, granted, we are investing a certain amount of money to help get the buildings up to snuff and ready for Susie to be able to do her thing and Dr. Glover to be able to do his thing. But at the end of the day, our income is coming from that triple net lease, from the $600,000 in rent, and from the 3% revenue sharing and the 4.5% rent increases per year. So that's something that is important for us to consider, because we have protections as investors getting into this, because it can be very intimidating to get into the drug rehab environment and to be investing in that. And there are ways that we are protecting ourselves as investors when it comes to that. So we do have a couple of questions in the chat. If we're okay to get to that, CB, or did you have something else to add before I get to that?
I cannot think of anything else at this moment. What is the projected interest rate in the year of the refinance?
Bingo. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, Bobby, that is such a good question, because it's a question I actually been thinking about it all along. So I actually started the process already. And the best rate I have been because interest rate will change and depends on our situation. But some of the local bank that I call near Clinton told me that, they can do it for 4.15, 4.25, which I found it really excellent. So we're going to look at the overall situation. If it makes sense to do it a little bit earlier, we might. So I want to look at overall. But we do intend to return all the principal back to the investor within 2 years. So either from the surplus of the income or from refinancing, one way or another, we want to make sure you get your principal back. And then, you get your principal back, you get your interest, all those profit share. At the end of it, we still continue to share residual income with you.
All right. Now, and I think the next question was about termination clauses in the 30-year lease. Are there any termination clauses in the 30-year lease?
You mean termination sooner? Or we signed the 30, what does that mean, termination clauses?
Yeah, I believe that means that if something were to happen sooner, then what is our recourse for getting out of that particular lease? And Kevin might be able to clarify that too.
Yeah, it's just with respect to the tenant. If the tenant has the option to terminate the clause, the lease earlier than the 30 years, pretty much.
So as we write, she's liable for the whole 30 years. The reason is we are spending money to buy the building. We are also giving her $2 million allowance to do the outfit, for her specific need. So we do not anticipate that will happen. And in the list is written, she is personally guaranteeing this. If she fall behind 2 months behind the rent, we actually can start going after her personal asset. So they have signed a lease with personal guarantee. And also remember, they already spent $1 million doing renovations, $600,000 on licenses. Last week alone, the CON cost about $150,000. For someone that committed, I don't think they're just going to walk away like that. Also, they've been anticipating, they've been standby pay, they've been paying their staff on a standby salary. So even though we have not opened, her staff, her key doctors are getting paid every month. So as soon as the facility is open, they are ready to work.
All right. So do we have other questions from you guys? You can put those in the chat or just unmute yourself and ask them as well. So
I saw Randy has a question here. Is the $700 million from the opioid settlement? Susie, I think you need to answer this question.
Yes, it is. It was out of the Johnson & Johnson. It was actually the settlement that was the second part of the settlement out of the opioid. She is correct. Yes, it is.
Other questions or comments? I know that, for me as an investor, the deal seems to be something that, when you can get your money back within 2 years, that's a pretty powerful statement. So you can start building on those infinite returns because you can take that money and start to put it into other offerings. So that is one of the things that seems to be a cornerstone of this, which is why I think Kevin asked that question about the interest rates with the refinance, because if we are putting things on, that refinance, if we're counting on that refinance to, keep our returns high, then we need to make sure that we can actually accomplish that. So.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to be like everything is a green light at this point. So, obviously there are things that have, interest rates could go sky high in the next 2 years. We're not sure. They are starting to tick up. So, but at the end of the day, if we are not able to refinance, then you're still going to be getting cash flow out of this investment. And the 10% cash on cash projection is actually a relatively conservative estimate from what we're hoping to be able to get out of the revenue sharing and the increases in rent over time. So that's kind of where we're at. And CB, I don't know if you have any other comments to that effect.
No, I don't have, because partly it really depends on the interest rate. That's why I already started the process. I was thinking if I can get into a better loan now, why not? That's why I started my homework early, because I see the interest rate is going up. Yeah. If I can lock in for something better and more permanent, then it's good for everyone. So been thinking about that lately.
Yeah, for sure. So any other questions that we have? Oh, Kevin? Yeah, go ahead, man. Take yourself off mute, and yeah, there we go.
So yeah, I was just following up on the last comment you made about paying back the investors and you having residual returns as well. That's what you said?
Yes. After you get back all your principal, you still stay in the game. You permanently have an equity in the building. So that would be residual income. I call it dessert money, because at that point, you already have your principal back. You already make some money out of it already. The rest of them is your surplus. So that's your residual income. It's your dessert money.
Yeah, I think it's a good deal.
Yes. And it's also, we're going to do segregation, cost segregation. You have to excuse my English. It's not sometimes my pronunciation all come together. Cost segregation. We're going to do a formal cost segregation study. So at that time, when you make income, it's going to be offset through the cost segregations. So for many investors, that would be advantage, because
yeah, and this is the last year to actually take advantage of that full 100% of bonus depreciation. So after this year, it starts to go down, tick down to 80%, 60, 40, 20. So that's something to keep in mind as well. So, but yeah, this is a great deal to be able to take advantage of all those tax benefits as well.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. So if you guys want to talk to us, you know how to reach us. My number is right here on the screen. And then the cash flow portal, visit it, because there's a lot of information there. For me, it's the more I know about this project, the more I love it. I know it's rewarding in the sense of the number, but to me, it's more than just a number. I'm the type of do what you love what you do. I always have a dream to write a book about this. I believe everybody should do what they love. Then no day is like work. And I love this project from the bottom of my heart. And I met people who graduated from this project. They've been drug addicts for 15 years. When I was there last time visiting Susie and the facility, I met Samantha. Samantha has been on and off for 15 years, since 15 years old, on drugs. And the week I arrived there, she bought her first house. Imagine, as an addict, you possibly lost almost everything you have. You build up your life, get a job, get your driver license, learn how to cook and take care of yourself again. And now you actually own your own home. So I feel Clinton is going to be a place that is going to change so many people's lives. And I actually feel very happy that I will be part of this mission, even though I'm not the one who knows how to do drug rehab, but I'm one of the person among everyone to make this possible.
Yeah. So we do have a couple of other questions. So I'm going to go to Sheila here. She was basically asking about the sources of income when they come from state grants, individual payments, private insurance, and self-paid. How do those actually kind of mesh out? What percentages are we talking about, and what does that look like for the operations of the business?
Well, of course, always when you use state funding, it would be substantially lower. So that's where, again, the nonprofit will come into place. Even though it does not cover their full entire stay, we can still apply for the scholarship to make up the difference on that. Tri-state or tri-care is the percentage is a lot higher. And they usually do not need a scholarship because it usually allows funds for about $50,000 a month to be put towards rehabilitation. So we will be within theirs, within the guidelines there. As for private pay does, private insurance, I should say, does pay 100%. Of course, you have to be very due diligent into working out and working with them and doing your homework, because you can receive the 100% if you're very good on your collections. So yes, like I said, our collections rate was always running between 80-90%. We did hit into the high 90s when we closed down our facility in Rose Hill and moved to Clinton. So we do have a great group that InSync helps us out a lot with recovery. And then of course your private pay works the same way. They come in with cash. If they cannot afford the full entire amount, that's where the scholarships will then come into place.
Okay. Next question is, looking at the projections, this is from Brandon. He sees that there is no expected vacancy, and this is not the same as an apartment complex, but he is a little bit confused by that. So if you guys could explain that, that'd be great.
So maybe I try to explain. First of all, we are having a triple net tenant. So the $600,000 a year is the income we receive as a landlord. So it doesn't matter she has 70%, 80%, 90%, or 50% occupancy. That's her base rent. The difference for us as a landlord is once she stabilizes, she will give us 3% of her gross once she stabilizes. So about 70% when she hit or June 2024. So I think so am I answering the question? So the occupancy to Susie, it will make a difference. To us, we have one tenant, which is changing paths. So that's where we get our income. In the apartment side, which is the therapeutic care, from what I understanding, Susie, you told me once you're full, you're always going to be full. Can you elaborate and share with everyone?
That's correct. The waiting list and the need for a long term in drug rehabilitation is just so large right now that we will probably be filled within 30 days after opening our doors. The turnover is going to be instant. As soon as a bed is available, it will be filled that day. There will not be any vacancy in the apartment side. On the main building, of course, you always have to calculate around 70 to 80%. We never go up to 100%, and our numbers don't reflect 100%.
Yeah. But on the investment side, the thing to keep in mind is we're not counting on 100% occupancy. We're just counting on being able to actually have profit from the rehabilitation center. So it's not something that we're counting on the facility to be running, 100% all the time. I believe the projections, even though we're expecting the revenue to be around 35 million or a lot more than that. Our projections are actually written to be around 30 million or less in revenue. So that's something to keep in mind from the investment standpoint. So another question. So Sheila has mentioned this complex is a rehab for residential home, totally fenced, and future clients received access from the judge who sent them into the diversion program. So maybe Susie, just going into a little bit of detail about how residents find our facility and what that's looking like. Is it all court ordered, or are we,
Oh, no,
my
no.
thing is that there are plenty of people that are all over the country who are looking for facilities just like this one. So go ahead, I'll let you talk on that.
So no, they are not. We are expecting to take in around 20% court ordered or ordered by or asked by a probation officer. We also, but a majority, I'm going to say the majority of our clients, what I have realized is they do come from just word of mouth. Once your facility opens up, and people understand how your program works, your success rate of your program, everybody is going to want to be involved in it. So this is how I explain our facility. The easiest way I can explain it is all the facilities surrounding us, they are a substandard drug treatment center. They are charging $42,000 a month. So we offer a cutting edge program. We offer a lot of amenities. So not only do we have a chef prepared meals, we have swimming pools, gyms, jogging paths, tennis courts. We offer all this for the exact same price. So in other words, it's like I said, if you're going down the road and you're trying to decide where to stay the night at, you've got the Hilton over here for $49 a month, a night, or you have the Super 8 for $49 a night. Which direction are you going to go? So that to explain a little bit about how we are competing. So our prices are with Wilmington Treatment Center and Raleigh Treatment Center. We are right in there, actually just a small percentage below them. But we are offering a lot more, and I feel our program is very strong. My success rate is 90% in 1 year, 70% over 5 years. That's great numbers. And all of mine are proven. I keep track of all of my clients. They are all doing very well, and only a small percentage have relapsed that we have not been able to get a hold of. So I think our program is very successful. And I think the numbers, they speak for themselves.
So we do have another question about the triple net lease itself. So are the expenses paid by the landlord and then reimbursed, or is it paid by the tenant directly? I think that's a very good question. And I know, Sheila, you're shaking your head there. I see you. You can't hide from me. But I want to make sure we answer that question for everybody listening.
Yes, but it is paid by. I do pay all the expenses.
Okay.
It is going to pay for all the expenses. Some of them, like property tax, or some of the main one. So we, as a company, we possibly pay it and ask Susie to reimburse us. Mm-hmm. So ultimately, we'll be covered by changing paths.
And that is, kind of the power of that triple net lease that we're getting into. So, this is, I kind of call this a bit of a land management deal, because we own the property and we're charging tenants rent. And so Susie is one of the operators of this facility that we collect rent from. So, obviously it is very important that we want Susie to succeed. So as somebody who owns this property and owns these buildings, we want to go through and provide what she needs. So we're going to raise some money here and try to make improvements to the property so that she can run the business that she wants to run. But at the end of the day, she's going to run her business and we're going to collect the rent from that. So that's kind of where we come down on this. So I don't know if CB or Susie have anything to add to that, but that's kind of, you know, that's where I think, you know, as investors, we're coming down on this.
I think you pretty much said it all. A triple net means the tenant pay for tax, insurance, and maintenance. So those items will be covered by the tenant. So as a landlord, some of them I may pay it first and have her reimbursed, so I have better control. So, but it is a triple net.
Yeah. So we are approaching 9 o'clock. Are there any last questions that anybody has for us? Oh, go ahead, Sheila. If you want to unmute yourself, that'd be great.
Okay, can you hear me now?
We can. Thank you.
Okay, my understanding is that the tenant is going to have a budget to rehabilitation of the facility, and that they are, in fact, doing the work right now, with the understanding they're going to be paid back for the work that they've done.
Correct. Up to $2 million. So the budget right now is about 2.7. She already spent about 1 million. But we have, as a company, our agreement is we reimburse up to $2 million.
Okay. Well, guys, if you are interested in making a soft reserve on this commitment, I have put a link into the chat. And, you know, for people who are going to be listening to the replay of this webinar, I will have that link available to you. But do we have any other questions before we kind of close this thing out? Doesn't look like it. So, you know, everybody, I thank you so much for being here. I appreciate everyone's attentiveness, and you know, the questions were great tonight. So thank you everyone for being here. And if we don't have any more comments, then I'm going to go ahead and end this meeting. So thank you everyone, and hopefully we'll see you on the investment side.
One last question.
Oh, go ahead, Sheila. Go ahead. Yes.
You said we're going to have a copy of this to listen to again. Where will we find it? So
I'm going to be putting it on my YouTube page for On Call Capital. So you can go to, oh gosh, you're going to ask me to remember it now. This is going to be a challenge. Okay. So it's youtube.com. Let me actually, you know what? Let me put the link in the chat. See, that's going to make me have to pull it. See, I love this stuff because I'm not always prepared for everything, and this makes me get better. So this is fantastic. Okay. All right.
You did terrific.
No, so you're awesome. Thank you.
So while Bobby is looking for his YouTube link, I just want to share with you for investor, for all my other investment that I have, I give monthly update to all my investors. So this one, I plan to do the same, especially during the renovation. But because it's a triple net, I feel it might be too much to update every month because it's triple net lease. So we might change it to 3 months or whatever is appropriate afterwards. But at the beginning, I will be updating everyone regularly. And then on February or March, I will be giving a K1 to all the investors so you can report your tax. And I do have to pick up my daughter, so I have to go soon. She has told me she has to be the VIP of my life.
So I believe I put the right link in here, although it's not popping up as a link. So I'm gonna double check that real quick. But it is On Call Capital. If you look up On Call Capital on YouTube, you should be able to find me. Let's see here. I have a link in a place where I can find it more easily. Yeah, that's it. So, you know, basically www.youtube.com/C/On Call Capital for you, the number 4 and the letter U. So, that should take care of it. But, I'm going to put a, you know, that link is not popping up. So I'm going to take care of that real quick in the chat. Okay. But, yeah,
my daughter.
So yeah, you go ahead, CB. Great to have everybody here. And, you know, hey, this is all a work in progress, but, you know, my hope is that you guys have gotten some great value out of it. And there we go. The link is working now. So if you guys click on that link, you can make a soft reserve, and we'll move from there. So thank you everyone for being here. I appreciate your time tonight and all of your great questions. And we're going to call it a wrap. So
Excellent.
thank you guys. Take care. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the Plan B CRNA podcast. If you haven't already subscribed and reviewed the show, I'd be honored if you took the extra time. It really helps to expand our reach and get the word out about the show. If you're a CRNA who is interested in sharing your story on our podcast, I'd love to have you. Please email me at bobby@oncallinvestments.com for more information. This episode was brought to you by On-Call Capital. They are dedicated to helping providers like you develop passive income and generational wealth through investments in the apartment and alternative investment spaces. Feel free to check out their website at www.oncallinvestments.com and subscribe to their free educational email series. You can find On-Call Capital on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also check out our YouTube page, where you'll find all of the show episodes along with other educational videos. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.